the inspiration. Here's all of that. And, you know, people usually respond to that. So, yeah, so I'm super excited.
Yeah. So cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that's cool. Anybody else having any progress they want to share? We'll spend another minute or two and then we'll get started with the meeting.
Oh, well. I will.
I think my media kit's finally almost done. I've just like worked and asked for opinions, and I reached out to, like, so when I was working, I found this article like all about how to make a great media kit for specifically children's books, and I thought, wow, this is so helpful. And I thought, I'm going to email the author of the post. She's a publicist, so I emailed her and got her feedback and kind of so I'm finally feeling a little more confident that it's a good representation of what we're trying to do. So,
See, but that's the perfect thing. Like what I was talking about earlier, just reaching out, like you just reached out to her and look at the information that you got and the help that you received. I mean, people really are willing to help. If you know, they really are. And so I think doing exactly what you did for the media kit is the stuff that you have to do for the sales marketing end of the book. Same thing.
You just never know. Like, it never hurts to reach out. You might make a contact. You might not hear back.
That's right.
It doesn't.
And even if that person can't help you, sometimes they know somebody who knows somebody who can help. And they're always willing to direct you to somebody who they think can help, especially if you seem and you're coming off authentic and real and, like I said in the thing, passionate about what you're doing. 100%, no question.
Yeah, it's so cool. This is like, marketing seems so foreign to me, but I'm actually a big people person, and I think that ended up being half of it. So that helps a lot.
Sure.
I'm fairly confident just reaching out to people. So I'm actually finding it fun so far. Ask me in a few weeks if I feel the same way, but so far it's fun. So far it's fun, and I'm learning a lot.
So does anybody have a guess as to who the #1 author in children's books is, like, across Amazon as of this past month?
I did see one person got a #1 on Amazon, and it was Cassie Pups.
Oh no, so I'm thinking all of Amazon, like every.
Dr. Seuss?
No.
Are we going to be graded on this?
No.
Do we know this person?
Something about a wizard.
Harry Potter?
Yeah. So it was J.K. Rowling. Yeah. And the funny thing is, I'm bringing that up because one of my previous work group participants is a father and son team. And it's Rudra and his dad, Tanmoy. And they create like YouTube videos, and they wrote a book about monster hunting. And it's just like a father and son thing that they do together. Well, they recently posted a shout out from, guess who? J.K. Rowling.
J.K. Rowling's. That's amazing.
That's so cool.
So, who would thought, right?
You never know.
On her Twitter, she gave them a shout out and said she really liked Rudra's illustrations. So
that's so amazing.
You just can't know, who's going to respond or not respond. And so if you reach out to 20 people, maybe one will respond. But if it's a biggie, and if you're targeting people in a way that that really they're really complimenting what you're doing, it's awesome. You know what? I have one author I'm working with who's her book is about having a butt chin. And I thought we should contact Jay Leno.
Oh yeah, perfect.
I don't know anybody that knows Jay Leno, but wouldn't that be so cool to have Jay Leno read your book about having a butt chin?
Yeah.
I was like, that would be so friggin' cool. So I have no idea.
Who would do that?
I have no idea. So if anybody knows anybody who knows anybody who knows anybody who knows Jay Leno, let me know. But it's like, just have fun with it. And one of these days you're going to swing for the fences and hit it over the wall,
Yeah, for sure.
Just make
all right. So it looks like we're kind of settling in. I'm so happy to have everyone. This is our normal 2-hour drop-ins, where I usually don't have any agenda. Everybody just shows up and we talk about wherever the questions lead us. Today, I'm happy that we're joined by Lyda Mclellan. Many of you have watched her videos. She is my go-to person on publicity, press kits, marketing. She is a treasure of information, and she agreed to be here with us today. And my questions to her, what I explained is that the group is really starting to build up to a point where people are thinking about their launches. They've got press kits ready, and it's, how do I now pitch to people, and what should I be doing to build up to my launch? So Lyda has agreed to come here. We'll start with those topics and then just let the questions flow. Thank you so much, Lyda, for joining us.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me too. You'll notice I have a funny burn. So I have a little bib. I'm running. And so it's, I have I'm from Vancouver, so it's always raining and cold. And being in New York, it was a surprise that the sun could kill you. Or maybe I'm being too dramatic. But anyways, thanks so much for having me. It's so cool just hearing the start of the conversations and everything that April said. I 100% agree. Talking to so many authors the past, since having my company, I think the biggest hurdle that a lot of authors start is just starting. Especially when it comes to marketing and PR. And it's just taking that it's not a little step, it's a big step to just start sending out those pitches, start sending those emails. And it's funny because one of the influencers I follow, Carly and Danielle, who founded The Skim probably back in 2012 or 2011, they shared an email they sent where they were looking for support from influencers. I'm just going to read this is the pitch that they sent back in October 1st, 2012. And it got results. They got a big time person, a scientist that worked with Obama. So they said, "Hi, Benta. We met at the Daily News event last week. Carly and I were discussing our newly founded media company, The Skim. We have a daily newsletter that breaks down the headlines for busy professionals on the go. We'd love to tell you more about our vision and what we're doing. Please let us know if you're free to chat." So it's super short. It got straight to the point. First sentence was they met her at an event, and then they introduced their company, The Skim. Third sentence was what The Skim was about. And then the fourth sentence is the call to action of we'd love to tell you about our vision. So super short. Nobody wants to read a long email. If their email was 5 paragraphs long, it probably wouldn't got noticed. If it was even if it was just too long, it wouldn't get noticed. And maybe I'll see if I can share it here with you guys just so you can see. Maybe just how short that is. It's not very, you can't really see it on the camera, but it's just so short. And that's what you want to do, is that nobody's heard about you yet. You're doing just an introduction email that just gets your foot in the door, and then they'll email you back if they want to learn more. And that's where you can send them all of the information about you and everything, or start that phone or schedule a phone meeting to tell them more information as well. So it's so cool that you guys were talking about that earlier. So to get started, the big thing is what do you guys need to prepare for that launch? It's a really big topic, and the hard part is that no launch is going to be the same. No steps are going to be the same for all of you. However, there is a foundation for you guys to follow. And the foundation really starts with really outlining your business plan, outlining who your target audience is. And what that means is that I know people are scared of a business plan, and try not to be. It doesn't have to be a crazy 10-page document. It can just be a point form document if you need it to be. And what that does is it helps outline what do you want to achieve. And when you're doing a business plan, there's a few components that you want to do. And I follow the business model canvas that was developed in Silicon Valley, but I converted it for authors. And what that does is a one-page, I'll share my screen right now while I describe it, but it's a one-page business plan. Business model canvas, and you can actually search it and you can find it here. So I'm just going to pull it up for everybody. There we go. So I'm just going to share my screen. And so what you're doing is you're outlining who your target audience is. You're outlining what channels you're going to talk to your target audience. You're going to talk to them on Amazon. You're going to talk to them on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Goodreads, but you don't need to be on all of the channels. So for a lot of authors, you're probably just going to be on Facebook and Instagram. But let's say if you're targeting like more of the do-it-yourself mom crowd, you might be on Pinterest as well. So it really is, where is your target audience? Where are most of them located? And those are the channels you want to be on. And then it's your relationships is what do you want to talk to them about? Are you going to be, what kind of value are you looking to talk to them about? So for example, if your book is on maybe it's on like, I'm trying to think of the top of my mind. Maybe it's like on puppies and how to, for anti-bullying. So like the relationships that you want to do is highlight those anti-bullying stories, highlight that hope and how to solve anti-bullying. So that could be some of the relationships that you gain. You also want to outline what your value proposition is. Every book, whether you're nonfiction or fiction, has a value proposition. So what's your value? Like for April's book, one of her many values is that it teaches kids how to be anti-bullies, not just how to watch a bully, like how not to just bully other kids, but how to like prevent bullying from happening and how to be actionable to stop bullying from happening itself. So that's her value. Your key activities. So what are some of the key things that you need to do in order for your book to be successful? So key activities could be like doing regular Instagram stories on X, Y, Z. It could be reach out to influencers. It could be PR. It could be influencer thought leadership writing. There's so many different activities that you can do, but it really depends on where your target audience lives. The other part is key resources. So what resources do you need in order for your book to be successful? So that would be your website, that would be a press kit, that would be maybe it's a sales pitch. So what are those things that you need in the back of your pocket that you can just pull out at a moment's notice for you to generate success? So key resources, maybe one thing that authors always forget as a key resource is that it should also be an outline of your cost of your book if another company wants to buy it in bulk directly from you. So how much can you sell it to them while still making a profit? Because Amazon and is set up for you. If you're going through Income Spark, you're getting that will help you get into bookstores. But I'm talking about like partnerships, like let's say Costco, for example. Let's say a museum. Let's say kind of like an independent store. What do you give them for them to order your books directly from you? What does that cost for them? So really that's one of your key resources that you have, because you don't want to have to plan it out while you're having that conversation, then you might lose that opportunity. Another part is your key partners. So key partners could be your key partners Amazon, your key partner might be Income Spark, your key partner might be a sales team to get your book out there. But key partners are also people and organizations that can purchase your book in bulk for you. And that's where you're going to get most of your money from too, is like those people that like those organizations and companies that can purchase your book in bulk. So for example, one of my authors, the RCMP is actually selling the book for us. So that is a partner that's selling the book in bulk for us, which is super exciting. It took us a couple of months to get there, but that is a key example. But they're outside the published industry, but they're one of those shakers and movers that's going to help us scale our book and generate more sales. Then you want to know your cost structure. So what are your costs to perform all of these activities? And what's your revenue streams? Where are you going to generate income? So for some authors, it's Amazon, but what about anywhere else that you can generate income? Like I was talking to one author, for example, and she's going to be publishing her book with all the toys and everything on Etsy. So Etsy is a really great avenue if you have things to sell besides your book, and especially if your book lines up with Etsy's aesthetics, you can grow really fast based on just working with their search engine. itself. So that could be one revenue stream as well. So looking at where so this is like and this doesn't have to be, you don't have to overthink it too much. It's really like putting it in point form, and what your ideas are, and based on what direction you want to go and who your target audience is. So I've talked to so many authors about this, and the biggest question is like, my book's fiction or children's book, why do I need this? And you need this because it sets the foundation and it tells you what direction to go into. So that way you're not trying to do all of the things at once. It helps you narrow down on what's going to be successful for you versus trying a million things. So when you're first launching your book or first marketing your book, it's so easy to get lost on Google of like top 10 tips to do for marketing for my book. And then all of a sudden 100 tips show up and you're like, okay, which one do I do? You don't want to jump to that. Jump to first who your target audience is, what your value is, and how you plan out to deliver that value itself. So that's really, really key here. And I really, it takes a day or like about 4 hours to complete this. So it doesn't take too much time, and it's really that foundation. And that's the first step that you'd want to take here, is setting that foundation, and that will help you plan out your marketing plan, everything. The next step that you want to do is come up with that marketing plan based off of this. So really kind of look at your key activities and expand on that. So some of the things that I suggest right now, given the current environment especially, is two things. One is influencer marketing, and the second one is PR. And this does depend on your budget, because like I would also recommend ads, but if you don't have a budget for ads, you really want to grow organically, then I really suggest working on influencer marketing and PR. So once you have your business plan outlined, you want to start creating your press kit, and you want to start creating a series of pitches. And when you're creating those pitches, you want to base it out on who your target audience is. So if your target audience are moms and grandparents, you want to write those pitches for them so it speaks their language. So when you saw like Carly's email, for the Carly and Danielle's email, they were saying their main pitch, that one sentence, said we're a news platform for busy professionals. And that spoke to the woman that they were talking to, because she's also a busy professional. So they really put her into their pitch. Even though it's one sentence, they still spoke her language and reflected what her needs are. And that's so important to do when you write your pitch as well. So once you have that business plan, the next step is to create your key resources. And those are your press kit and your pitches as well. The next step, once you have your press kit and pitches, is that you want to create a contact list of influencers that you want to reach out to. So really, you know who you're targeting, and you need to find those influencers that reflect who you are targeting. Like, so if you're targeting moms, what are influencers whose readership or their followers are all moms? So you want to target influencers that have around 10,000 followers, because if you go too high at first, they're going to always ask for some sort of monetary compensation to work with them. So I find 10,000 followers is the mark, and you also want to see what their engagement is as well. Do they have a high or low engagement? I think there's some chats here. Influencer marketing, PR, business.
Oh, I'm
thanks,
just
April,
taking
so
notes.
much.
Yeah, no worries. I just want, because I know people are going to want to go back and look at this. So
Thank you. I know I'm trying to talk slower now, because I know that's always like the biggest thing for me, is to talk slower. So definitely, if I'm talking too fast, interrupt.
So the good thing is, on the replay, I can always like move your speed down.
Oh,
Always
thank you.
comes out easier.
I get too excited, because then my mind is like racing, and then I'm trying to keep up with my voice.
Yeah. So will we go back to then talking about, the types of pitches and how to create a good pitch? I think you want to go through the first, like the overview.
Yeah.
By the way, I really loved that business model canvas. What a great way to have, like, because all of the pieces of the information we've been developing as we've gone up to this point in the work group. But what a great idea to have it in one place you can print and put on your wall, and like continue to move forward with it.
And it doesn't take up too much time. That's the beauty of it. I find when we mention business plans, I even get intimidated too. I'm like, no, it can be really, really simple to do. So let's keep on going though. So the next step is influencer marketing. You want to develop like a really long and targeted list of influencers you want to reach out to. And so once you have that list, you send them those pitches, send them that introduction of where that's one sentence value of why they should want to work with you, why they should email you back and ask to collaborate, why they should email you back to ask more questions. So you're sending them that pitch along with your press kit. So your goal before your launch date is to have like a solid group of like maybe 10 influencers that you can collaborate with that can act as your part of your team to promote your book during launch date. The other thing that you're going to want to do is also start getting testimonials and reviews for your book too. So while you're creating that, you're creating one list for influencers and one list to get testimonials and reviews. So the influencers, you're still asking them for testimonials and reviews, but you're also asking them to promote your book on their platforms. There's going to be some authors and some media journalists, etc., that you want to get testimonials from. So you want to create that list too. And this list comprises of authors who are maybe 5 years away from where you want to be or more. They're authors that have whose readership is also your target readership. And then you also want to contact media. So these are journalists, specifically journalists that focus on your value. So if your book is on puppies, I'm sure there's a lot of journalists, a lot of magazines actually just publish about dogs. I actually know there's magazines about dogs solely. There's also there's also journalists that just cover school and the school districts, teachers, that type of thing. So you want to target those journalists to provide you with a testimonial because that gives your book credibility. So when people are purchasing your book, they're not purchasing it based on currency, they're purchasing it based on time and an investment. So that's the biggest difference, is that yes, you can price your book at a certain place as well, which is always really important and have a good strategy, but keep in mind, the main reason why people are purchasing your book is not because of the title or necessarily the cover. It's through word of mouth and authority and trust. They want to see a good brand. The whole package itself is what's going to help sell your book. So any questions so far?
Yeah, there's a couple here.
Thanks.
Laura says, did you say that business chart is free and available? So is that's something that we can download and make available, right?
Yeah, it is free. It is harder to follow because it is meant to be it's meant to be for a business, not for authors. So keep that in mind. Like have an open, kind of like an open brain when you look at it. So it is meant for startups and entrepreneurs, not for authors the way that it's been written. So keep that in mind. But it is free.
Can you edit it? Sorry, can you edit it?
You can edit it yourself. Yeah. So like you can but the questions and the prompts there are meant for entrepreneurs and for businesses. So okay. It's like, just, so you have to kind of use a different headspace when you read it. That's all.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. And then Adele, how do you go about finding influencers? Do you just use the search icon on Instagram and just start searching hashtags relative to your audience? And then Sarah has word of mouth, credibility, and what? Oh, brand. Sarah, it's brand. So really having that strong brand behind you. And then Adele, for testimonies, reviews, would you ask those only once your book is illustrated, printed, released, or can you ask for reviews before printing? You can definitely ask for reviews before printing. We'll go over that in more detail. So the first one here is about how do you go about finding influencers. So anybody want to can anybody share like in one sentence what your book is about? And I can go through of how I would find an influencer for your book in the comments.
Go ahead.
Okay, discovering primary colors through animals, discovering them.
Discovering primary colors. Can you expand on that? Like, what is the value? Like, what is that? Oh, like just like discovering like how animals view it in what way? Like, what do you mean?
Oh, sorry. So basically it's about animals who are painting and they discover the magic within mixing colors together.
Oh, okay, cool.
So it's basically like from, I guess, a parent's point of view, you would say primary colors. In a kid's point of view, you would be like, oh, look at magic colors.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So I'm going to share my screen here. So the first thing I would do is just search. Sorry, I'm just going to rearrange the screen here so I can see it. It's just coloring for kids just to see what comes out. So Crayola, coloring for kids, Hello Kids. I'm just going to pop up a few here. PBS Kids, so that's cool. Just coloring for kids. Top color books. Let's see what comes up too. Top color books, kids to color books.
Sorry, it's not an actual coloring book. It's a book about color. Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. It's to see if there's any influencers that share their top 18 coloring books for kids. So I want to see if there's any influencers out there that kind of shared coloring, top coloring. Let's see what comes up here. Books for kids. Top. Let's see what comes up here. Amazon. 8 best products. So that might be good. Born Cute. So that looks like it's a blog. Mom, the coolest mom. So I kind of like search around like different mommy-ish. So I'm just kind of reading as we go. Little Poppy. So I'm sure that these are influencers just based on their names right here. But I search like for like, okay, so it's about coloring. It's about that artistic side of things. So I'm like, okay, so if they'd be interested in your book, they're probably just also interested in art for kids as well. That is an assumption because I haven't read your book. So that is an assumption for sure.
Yeah.
But so I did search for other ones here just to see what would come up. So this one doesn't look like it's a good fit just by quickly looking at it. But let's see what this one, Hello Kids. Okay, accept. This looks like this could be a good fit just to see if they would want to collaborate with you or write a testimonial. So they have drawing for kids, crafts for kids. So you could even see if they have just a testimonial from them about finding those primary colors through animals.
Okay, it just clicked what you all meant. It just like worked in my brain. Now I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. So it's easier for me to show visually versus kind of going through it. So this would be a good one for a testimonial. It doesn't look like they have a blog though, but it does look like let's see if they have social media. If they probably do, I just can't find it. But their email's right at the bottom, which is really cool. Oh, they do. They have videos for kids. They can even read your video to their audience, which would be awesome.
I love you. Thank you.
Yeah, so it looks like that could be an option too. So there's room to collaborate with this one here. Then we have Pixel. So they have virtual pet games, about us, game publishing, coloring pages. So this would be another good one for a testimonial too, and to see if they'd want to share your book information with their audience. So they do have Instagram, and they only have 256 followers, but I bet you they actually have a bigger Facebook presence. So let's see if I'm right. Yeah, so they have 214,000 people have liked and engaged with this. So that could be a great place to give testimonials for your book here. So that would be really cool. And that might be something that they could actually read out loud because they have coloring pages, they have videos. So that could be a good one as well. Then we have the best, so this is more of a media outlet. So this would be looking at this journalist, Dana, who wrote this and saying, hey, read your article on Best that talks about kids covet these best-selling coloring books. And I thought you might be interested in my book because XYZ, please let me know if you'd like to have more information, and then end it at that. So just keeping it short, because she might be a great person to get a testimonial from. And she might also want to talk about your book in one of her articles. So you can see she talks a lot about kids and everything. So this is a good one here. But these are not influencers, so we'll still get there. So 10 coloring books for kids reviewed in 2020. So this one looks like they have gift ideas for ages. So you could actually pitch your book to be a part of their gift guide, which would be really cool. And that's for everybody here too. There's actually a few of these websites that can be gift guides for books. So you could pitch your book to this. And then coolest coloring books for kids. So this is another more of a media outlet, and so you would actually target, same thing as I mentioned with the other one, is target Mari Richards to see if she would provide testimonial, and then maybe later on if she would want to talk about your book in an article. Then we have Mommy-ish, which is more of, so this would probably be more of an influence. No, this would be more of a blog / media outlet. So it'd be more to see if they would want to feature your book and provide a testimonial. Then we have this one here, My Little Poppy. So this is more of an influencer for sure. So it'd be like, this would be more of like, can you collaborate with her in some sense? I'm just, website is just a bit crazy here. Start here. Where's her Instagram? won't spend too much time looking for it, but I do know that she'd have Instagram here. Let's see. Oh, it's
I
probably
now understand what you're saying by looking
Mhm.
for related things. Even if it's not exactly on the topic that you're writing about, you can look for relationships between something in your book to whatever somebody is writing or influencing, and connect on some kind of level, even if it's a tiny level, so that you do have some common ground.
It can become
exactly.
mutually beneficial that way too, because
And there's so many art projects for kids and just art for kids, like
There's
homeschooling.
tons.
I know like in Vancouver, there's like, I think it's called like Kids for Paint or something. It's a company. They have like, I think it might even be a franchise. And that's another avenue to get your book to maybe collaborate with them as well. So there's so many opportunities there. It's really about like just really searching for the ones that fit the most and finding those influencers. So if it's influencers, it's always hard to find it based on hashtags. Like I do art for kids, maybe. Let's see what comes up for here. But I don't actually usually use hashtags to find influencers. I really use Google search to find them, because I find like I get a more of a sense of their of just what they write about in general, and what articles, and if there's any similarities and everything, and professionalism, that type of thing. And I find like with hashtags, it's so hard to sort through them all, of all the posts under the hashtags, that it ends up taking longer. So I try to stay away from like this one. We know it's not a good fit just because it's in a different language. This one, she has 81. That's way too many. She'll probably say no, but you could still try. You never know. You could still try, especially because our email's so easily accessible here. But that's kind of like how I'd really focus on Google search versus hashtags, especially in your case.
So Lyda, just a quick question around in this topic. So I know that whenever you reach out with a pitch, you're supposed to include like a call to action. And I know like collaborate is a big word in this stuff, but that can encompass so much. What do you think are some really effective ideas for collaborations? Just, I know that varies by topic, but what do you see?
Yeah, I think like for me, like I'm just going to turn off the light because I just realized it's getting dark in here. Sorry guys, while I talk. But for me, it's really focusing. It depends if you're if you're in the like launching your book and you're in the first 3 months of your book, as like your strategy and everything, is really getting testimonials would be a big one. The second one is asking influencers if there's a way to collaborate with them. Is there like kind of like, and it's really up to them. Like one of my most successful campaigns with influencer marketing is like we had over 1 million reach, and the things that I asked them is like what our value was around waste free, and creating plastic free oceans. That was our value. So I found influencers that shared the same values, that were really focused on recycling, cared about our ocean. So I've made a list of them, and I have like, I don't even know how many. I reached out to like a few hundred, and I targeted them saying like, hey, this is a really cool opportunity for us to collaborate since we both share the same value. And my response rate was like crazy positive. And I got people that had over 1 million followers because they were so aligned with our values. And my call to action was not a testimonial. It was like, I'd love to see like brainstorm ways that we can collaborate. Maybe I can send you the book. Maybe I can send you XYZ for you to review first. And then we can see if we're a good team, and you can help me and you can share this with your audience. So it really depends. Like the first one is like, I like to keep it more of like a conversation tone, like because they have to read the book first, especially if they're talking to a smaller influencer, to build that trust with them. So keep that in mind too. But it really depends on what you're looking for. If it's a testimonial, ask for a testimonial right away. Don't beat around the bush, I guess, so to speak, but make sure you're like, I will send you the ebook or the print book.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's keep on the video. Thanks, April. Yeah, I didn't realize how dark it was. So we're at like the golden hour, I guess, here. My book is about...
Lyda, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, who's speaking?
It's Tara Cavosi.
Oh, hey.
So just, you were just talking about, finding your common ground with the influencers. Once you do that and touch base on that in the email, could you then say, I saw your article about X, Y, and Z. We're on the same page. We care about the same thing. I'd really like to offer your subscribers, followers, viewers a free X, Y, and Z, you know, within the conversation. Is that something that they are generally turned off by, or is that something that will
100%.
raise their arm? Yeah.
Yeah. And like, it's interesting that you brought that up. And I was going to mention this earlier too. So thanks like for mentioning that, is that it is a huge turnoff because it's like, oh, you're using me. That's what it feels like. Instead of like when you're talking to influencers, you want to say like, how can I contribute and give you value? So whenever I talk to influencers, my campaigns are successful because our values are aligned. I'm not asking them to buy this, buy now, and everything, because that won't work. They'll just kind of like turn their face around like and walk away. So like, for example, when you talk to bookstores, the reason why they're going to potentially want to work with you is one, their value. Two is that readers are going to buy your book, but three is that they're going to make money from you. Same with all of your key partners that you want to outline, is that the only reason why they want to work with you is that there's some benefit for them. Nobody's going to want to work with you if they can't see the benefit for them. And like, it is a hard truth. So like, I see like a lot of authors posting on these Facebook groups. And I'm going to be so transparent, so don't kill me, anybody, but they post like, buy now. And it's like, it's not going to work. You're not going to get a lot of book sales from that at all. Like I'd be shocked if you did. What you can post instead, and one of my authors who just launched her book this week did, is like, you can say like, this is a humble brag. This is a huge feat. I just spent the last year putting this amazing book together. I'm so excited about it. This is one sentence describing what this book's about. This is like the value that my book brings. And just be excited to share that with them, like genuinely excited. Of course, you're going to add a link to Amazon, but you're not going to ask people to buy now. You're just going to talk about like, thank you so much. I just wanted to share this huge feat with everybody, and being genuine like that. And people you'll get, it's day and night, the amount of likes and comments you'll get.
Right.
So yeah, whenever you say like it's a big turn off to like make it seem like you're using someone to kind of offer what you can contribute to them. So like as a new author, that doesn't necessarily mean something physical. It can be like your values. Is that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So if like your value is like anti-bullying, it's like finding those people that have those same values and say like, hey, we both have the same values. Here's a solution that we can maybe work together towards as well. So it's like you don't want to come off across too salesy, because it's a huge turn off for people. So I want to go, I still have questions here. So the book, so how are we getting, Kathleen asked, so how are we getting them to do this? So we're paying for it, or we're just hoping, asking them to say yes? Sometimes you can pay for influencers if you want to. I always suggest not to, because I don't see a return on that type of investment. So it's really like aligning those values with them. And like, think of it as like a good example is like with the Carly and Danielle example, is that they were a startup back then. They were asking people to align with their goals and their story that they were bringing. And that's the same with a startup. When you're looking for funding, when you're looking for support, when you're looking to build that readership, you're not asking them just to buy now, buy this now, here's the title. You're saying like, here are the values, here's the benefit, and here's why you should join me on this journey. And like, people will follow that. It's like, you kind of want to encompass them into that journey that you're bringing into that story. So and if influencers say no, that's okay. You can move on. There's going to be influencers that say yes, guaranteed, as long as you believe in your product and you have a good, high quality product too, which I'm sure everybody here does. I reached out to 4, so somebody said from me, I reached out to 4 kids cooking shows. I did not get a response. My book is about noodles. So what did you say to those cooking shows?
Yeah, one of them was called Charlie's Crafty Kitchen, and the name of my little girl in the book is Charlie. And I said, oh my gosh, we have this in common. And I said that, do you have a recipe that you'd want to share that I could put in my book or on my website? Mm-hmm. So I didn't really say anything about my book, or I just asked if they could have something to share.
Yeah.
That I could read, and I did that with all 4 of them and haven't heard back at all.
Oh, when did you send it to them?
About a month ago.
That was probably why too, because I know like during like the Black Lives Matter and like the quarantine, there was like a big pause. there.
Okay.
So it was like I took a pause on PR during like a good chunk there. So that might be why, but also it'd be telling them what your book is about in just 1 to 2 sentences. So that way they could get an idea of how your values are aligned. It's like, is it like what would be like for these kids cooking shows, like what were some of the things that what was their value, or what was that main topic that they focused around?
They're the ones that I saw on YouTube they just cook for kids. I use the You Cook Too, and I'm not sure that they're around anymore because the last post I could find online from them was 2019.
That might be it too. Yeah.
So I think they might have disappeared.
That's too bad.
Yeah, and one of them I reached out to, I did further research on it and saw that everything they do is desserts. So I realized that they couldn't help me in any way, but I still tried.
But your book is about noodles. What about noodles is it?
It's about the little girl that's obsessed with noodles and has the noodle adventure day. She never can get enough noodles throughout the day. And at the end, she shares them with the reader.
That's funny. You could do you could look at for picky eaters, like any influencers that talk about picky eaters. That's a really good one. You could because that is aligned with them, and there's so many articles I'm sure about picky eaters in general. So that might be a really good one. Maybe dietitians. That's a bit tricky because it's on noodles. So that, but maybe though that might be a good angle too. But look up, I think the first thing.
Yeah, I was having an activity sheet on the website saying that, it's not healthy to just eat noodles, and doing a lesson plan and food that way, but that's a good idea. I'll try the picky eaters.
Yeah, so look up that part. And then Laura, no worries. Laura, you mentioned, what about Mommy and Me Cooking YouTube channel?
Yeah, that was, so hold on. Can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, that was for me as a suggestion. Maybe if it's not a TV show, go through YouTube, because I know there's a ton. My daughter watches a ton of kids who actually cook, and their parents are in the background, but they cook a lot of food. They cook everything obviously with the parental supervision, but you never know.
Okay. I'll look for more. Thank you.
Cool. And then Kathleen, you asked another question. Are we trying to get all this lined up before we launch, or can it be done after as well? That's a really good question. So you want to do it before and after. It is a continuous process. So you want to get what I like to do right now, especially with everything that's going on, is get a good group of 10 or more influencers, but I would aim for 10 if you're doing it yourself, of influencers that can help you, that can promote your book and work with you the day you launch and that week after. And then keep on moving that ball forward, is keep on doing outreach to more influencers. Use this success that you got with the 10 influencers as an example for more influencers to work with. You'll find that once you get a few influencers that have over 20,000 followers, you'll see that more influencers will want to come and work with you. So I always suggest 10 because it's a great number, but keep on doing that afterwards. That's one thing that you definitely want to do. Plus, if you get a high profile or medium profile influencer, is that you can use that as part of your ad campaign. And those are sometimes my most successful ad campaigns, is where I do an ad around the photo of the influencer promoting the product in the book itself, because that creates more brand recognition. Does anybody have any other questions so far?
Would you mind talking a little bit about the parts of just putting together a pitch?
Yeah, definitely.
Give some tips. Maybe we can take an example if others have, something that they want to learn to pitch.
Yeah, so the steps that I would take is now know who your target reader is. You've created that press kit. You found those media contacts. And so you want to first brainstorm hooks. So hooks ideas, for example, we were talking about the picky eater. So if I was to search, when I come up with the picky eater, when I can't think of any hooks, I have to start what's already created. So I'm just going to share my screen again here. Oops, there we go. There we go. So the picky eater. So like a good one is what makes kids picky eaters, or another one is are noodles the biggest fan for picky eaters? So I'd look at 10 tips for parents to stop their kids from eating just noodles. I'd pick out like, and I find like these are just inspiration. Like I'll just come up with ones just by looking at these, like how to turn those noodles from carb heavy to greens. The struggles parents face with picky eaters. So kind of like I'd come up with a list of hooks just based on what I see that's already existing, and kind of like let that help with the brainstorming part of everything. Then the next step would be, once I have those pitch ideas, I'd write a pitch around that. So that hook will be my subject line, and sometimes I use that even in my Amazon book description, and then I'd write a pitch around that. So let's say if like my pitch was what makes kids obsessed with noodles, maybe I'd write down like, hi, my name is Lyda, or like I'd say like, hi, I just wrote this book about noodles, and how kids are obsessed with noodles and just eat noodles. I think parents can really relate to this. I don't know what your book is about like fully, I'm afraid, so I can't really finish the pitch, but I would really focus on like, I read your article on XYZ. I definitely have been there where the parents are and feel the turmoil of picky eaters. And I wrote this book on how kids are obsessed with noodles and how they only eat noodles, to help make it more humorous and to maybe get kids to eat other items as well. So kind of like something along those lines, really, really short, but keep it like really that value and how it's aligned with them. Another example that I would do is, let's see, maybe like from Kathleen, Mama's trying to get a minute to go potty in peace. So maybe it would, Kathleen, is your book of like potty training or?
Sorry, no, it's self-care for moms.
Self-care. Oh, that's so cool. That's one of my, I know that's a huge, huge topic. Okay. Like what about self-care for moms though?
Sorry, say that again.
What around self-care for moms?
Working with, sorry, I'm trying to go back and forth and avoid children right now myself.
Oh, that's okay.
Teaching children that it's okay for moms to take a break for a little bit, and that we still love them even if we have to go to the bathroom or go take a shower or something, that few minutes doesn't detract from us being mommy.
Yeah, that's cool. So yours would be like good to post on Thrive Global, and a pitch that I would send out is like, do moms, have you ever noticed how moms feel guilty if they're away from their kids for even a minute? I wrote this new book on how how important it is for mom to take that break for self-care while their kids even go to the potty. If you're interested in learning more, I'd love to collaborate with you. Except like your call to action, here's a press kit for more information. So keeping it super, super short. So again, what I would say is, have you ever noticed that moms, are you a mom who feels guilty from staying away from their kids for too long? I wrote this book to encourage mom to take that break for self-care, even if it's in the midst that their kids are go to the potty. I'd love to collaborate with you. Let me know if you're interested in learning more, but here's my press kit for more information. So really, really short. And I think that pitch that I just said would be more for the influencers. If you're pitching with something like Having to Post or Thrive Global, it'd be like, have you ever noticed like what is do you find that moms, if you're a mom, you probably can relate that you feel very guilty if you even take a 5-second break for self-care. Here I'd love to share steps and tips that moms can take while they have a newborn who's in the midst of potty train, and how they can still find that time for self-care. Here are my if you're interested in learning more, let me know and I'd be happy to provide an article or an interview for you. So like definitely tie it up compared to what I just said. Mine was a bit messy, but that's kind of like the point that I'd want to come across. Does that make sense though?
Yes, it does.
Perfect. Kathy, working with you, do you write those pitches for us? Yeah, I would write most of those pitches for you. It depends on how we work together, but most of the time I'd write them for you, but I'd want to train you so that way you would get comfortable within a year, 6 months down the road that you could write those pitches yourself too. But I would write those pitches for you to answer your question. Any other, so when you're going through those pitches, we'll just keep on going back here. So when you're writing that compelling pitch, it's like it's really keeping it super, super short. I remember when I first started off in PR, like I don't even know, like when I was 19, so a very long time ago. And even seeing interns starting PR right now is like the first mistake that they do is they write this long essay. And when everybody I find that starts PR, they want to like give all the information in one email, and it's like long. And have you ever, like when you open up your email inbox in the morning, you get like all these long emails, and you just like, okay, I'll read them later. They're too intimidating long. That's the same thing with journalists. They just want to scan, get straight to the point right away. So the shorter, the better, because you're doing them a favor. And like that long email doesn't look, it looks too intimidating, especially when they don't know who you are. So really keep it as short as possible. You can even have point forms in there, everything. Does that, any other questions around the pitches? I know like with the pitches, like the biggest things to kind of go over is you want to keep it short and personal. So your pitch should really aim that it should not be longer than 150 words, and it needs to be conversational. So you only want to provide the details, the value, so that the journalist can grasp the idea and what you're asking them for without getting to the nuts and bolts. Nobody wants to know the details until they start that collaboration and start that process with you. So for example, I actually just sent a pitch to a couple, I'm working with a couple of awards right now, databases on just like marketing and pitching for authors. So the first pitch I sent was like maybe 50, 100 words. I was just like, hey, let me know if you're interested in learning more. And then they all emailed me back and saying like, yeah, please send me more details, send me more information. So we started that conversation afterwards. So they were already preconditioned, they're ready to read that bigger email. So you also want to pay attention to timing right now, especially because you don't want to compete. You don't want to you don't want to pitch having to post during breaking news. You don't want to pitch to CNN during breaking news as well. So really, especially now, pay attention to timing because you don't want to compete against breaking news at all. But plus, you also want to be compassionate and give that space to those stories that are so important that's going on right now too. Adele, do you have any tips? What would you search for a book about leaving home and traveling to different countries? So do you have any tips about search? So actually, there's a lot of kid bloggers out there that talk about traveling in different countries. There's also blogs out there. So I'll share my screen again. 1 second here. There we go. There's also how to travel with kids. Actually, my friend, she has two, one was like 1 year old and one was, I think, 4, and they went to Costa Rica together and they've been to Bali, everywhere. So kind of like look at these bloggers that talk about how to travel with kids, because that might be a really good area for you. And there's tons, even New York Times talks about how to travel with kids. So like your options are endless. So I wonder if we go to, Instagram here, what we can come up with. You can tell I have like a fascination with cats right now, traveling with kids. So I think like here you'd find a lot of bloggers that you can, are influencers to work with. And I'd really pay attention to make this a fast process is hover over those images and see how many likes and comments they have. So this one's pretty good. This one is good too. Like you don't want one like this one I don't think is that good because we don't know what the photo is. So you want to make sure that they have a lot more high engagement, a lot of comments and everything. But you don't, like this one here, I bet you they have so many likes and comments here that that's a bit intimidating. So let's just see what I have pulled up here. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. So this one here. So this one might still be good. Yes, they have only 2,000 followers, but they still might be really good because they have a lot of engagement and quite a few comments too, compared to some of the others that we saw. So this might still be a good fit. Same with this one here. Let's see. So still quite small. She's based in India, so maybe based on geographically, that might not be a good fit. Let's see this one here. So again, like quite a few comments here, and with posts, like it will still live on her page forever. And I bet you she has a blog as well. So she might actually want to share that on her blog, which would be really cool. Then we have this person. I don't know if this person, the fashion beauty, so I don't know based on geographic if they're going to be the good fit. Plus they have I bet you reaching out to them at first, they're not going to want to work with you just because they are going to be looking to get paid. So the one way is definitely look at the hashtags here. You want to look at family travel moment, travel family, so things like that to see what you can find. But there's definitely so many opportunities for traveling with kids and so many article opportunities with that too. Let's see. Let's see, do you have kids traveling different countries? Don't want to monopolize light during presentation, but if there is a time, I'd love her suggestions for contacts who'd be interested in service dogs, positivity, and perseverance. So I'd go back to hashtags right here. Let's see. I wonder what happens if you just do service dogs. Yeah, so there's a lot of service dogs of Instagram here, which with this one here, it might be even better in your case, it might be really good to find those influencers. The hard part is not a lot of them you're going to find have a lot of followers. That might be the only hard part here. This one right here.
Part so far.
Pardon me?
That has been the hard part so far with that.
But that doesn't mean not to work with them, because it's such a niche as well that they probably have I can see that they have a higher engagement too. Yeah, so the people that are following them for a very, very specific reason. So you might get a higher engagement through them. The biggest thing is you'll probably want to work with more getting testimonials from mainstream media, and influencers. Influencers is going to be a hard one for you unless they relate to and have value and can relate to this, and they have their own service dogs. Maybe I wonder. I would really focus on working with what's here right now, but also looking at those more of bloggers and media outlets to talk about it, because they're going to be more interested in this niche story versus finding those influencers that because there's so few of them that post about this. So really look at those magazines and media outlets. So let's see, service dogs magazine. Let's see what comes up, if there is a magazine. So there is a magazine, so that's really cool. Everyday Dog Magazine, Service Dog, Modern Dog. So a lot of these dog magazines do talk about this too. So that's really cool. So I don't know if all of these are relevant though, but you might want to pitch and get a testimonial from them too.
I did have an offer from the president of International Associations of Service Dog Partners to do a testimonial. Do you think somebody like that, a president of an organization, is that credible, something people will care about?
Yeah, I definitely think so, because it also adds more credibility to purchase your book too, because that's something you can add on your Amazon page.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, so definitely feel free to ask questions. Don't worry. Let's see what comes up here. I'm sad to have to leave now. I appreciate this help. Oh, no worries, Allison. Bye for now. Monsters and Trucks and ASL. Kathy, can you expand on that?
So it's a children's story about a little boy and his monster truck. It's My Monster Truck Goes Everywhere with Me. The differential for the book is that it is in American Sign Language. So on every page, the character is signing a sign. So on one page, fast or red. So every page, the character on the page is signing.
That's cool. I love that. And sign language, I've realized, has been getting a lot more media attention, and people who don't know people that sign are actually learning it as a hobby too, which is really cool. More of my friends are learning sign language just as for not just for fun, just more awareness, which is amazing. So I think there's so many I think for your book, you don't need to just focus on influencers that focus on sign. You can look at for influencers that more focus on equality, that focus on equality, that focus on wanting their kids to be developed and understand kids from different backgrounds. So I'd focus on I wouldn't just focus on sign and ASL. I'd focus on equality and influencers that want to raise children, that want to be able to relate to all children, raise children that love and care based on and not just look at your background, but are compassionate no matter what from the kids. If that makes sense.
Okay, equality, yeah. And then would you go to the monster truck arena as well?
That one's a hard one. Like, it really depends if like I would maybe pitch one or two of them just to see if they're open to doing children's books. But do they have a children's presence at the monster truck arenas, or is it mostly geared towards like adults?
No, kids just love it. They just like my grandson, he just like lives to go to a monster jam. So
cool.
kids love it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then I would definitely ask them. Yeah. I'd ask them if they'd want to provide a testimonial first. And then afterwards, I'd ask them, is there a way to collaborate? Because you have so many kids that attend these events. Is there a way to collaborate together where you can help sell the book and you'd get 50% or however that marketing goes for you and that sales point. So I would ask them. I don't know if like they would say yes, depending if they're selling other products, or you can ask if you can rent a booth there if they do booths. I'm not too familiar with monster trucks, but you could ask if you can get a booth there as well, because if there's like mostly kids that go, then you're going to sell a lot of books there, since that's where your target audience is too.
Okay, good, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Serena, my upcoming book is about silly tale of little girls running adventure with an ostrich. That's so cool. Any thoughts on a specific niche? So what about the girl running with, like, what is she doing?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Sorry. Hi there. So basically, it's a silly tale about a little girl who makes a wish for an ostrich as a pet, and her wish is granted, and then she has this like chaos of adventure. The ostrich, gets apples stuck in its neck and goes to the vet, and then just continuously runs off, and she's exhausted. And so she realizes it's just not what's meant to be. And so she wishes it back, and of course wishes for something different. But I don't know, like, I'm looking at zoos and wildlife, but I don't know if there's a specific niche, like in a children's regard, like bloggers or anything.
Yeah. Is it more of like, is the book more of a fun read, or is there a value that the child learns from it? And it's okay if it's a fun read too.
Yeah, it's certainly more of a fun read. There is a value of like wishing upon an animal that probably isn't suitable for a household pet.
Yeah.
But at the end, it's more of a shock that, and a surprise that she wishes upon something that even again she shouldn't wish for. So it's based on a series.
I wonder, like, I'm just searching, like, when kids wish for there's like I'll share my screen because I just did a search here. There we go. When 27 kids wish for their like hilarious things that they wish for. Green cards. So I wonder, like, if there's something that you could do this, like, have you ever, like, to mom, like, maybe you'd send a pitch, have you ever had your kid wish for something just so crazy and that it's just impossible to grant, but they're crying, they're upset over it, and like you just can't, like, you don't know how else to explain, like, this is impossible. If you have, then you should read this book to your kid, and then hopefully they'll understand that not all wishes can be granted.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'd suggest, but I'd want to read the book, like, to really see what kind of avenue, but that would be one avenue that I would take for it. Loris, any other questions though? Sorry to cut you off there.
No, thank you so much.
Cool. And what a great about Isabel, and everyone feels included. Thank you, Laura. Taryn, my book is about mother-daughter connections through the act of hairbrushing. I love that. I was trying to market it with a silver hairbrush, but have had a hard time finding affordable ones as a contemporary accompanying item. Any thoughts on next steps? Have you done Alibaba, Taryn?
No, I haven't.
That's the only one I can think of. I'm going to send the link here, but it does take like a month or longer to order. Alibaba. So I'm just going to send the link here. That's the only one I know to find cheaper products. here. So there's the link to it. It's a great way to find and create products. It is a Chinese like version of Amazon, but you do find like very like you'd order in bulk and they'd help create those products with you too. And I do know a lot of authors that go through that themselves. So that one's like, that's my suggestion for it. Even plush toys, you can find resources for plush toys there too. But I love the hairbrushing. That's so cool. I mean, my mom used to do my hair every single day, and that was like our bonding moment before I ran off to school. So I love that. That's cool.
Great.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
Lyda,
so
one of the things I'd love to chat about is and I know we're going over, I assume it's okay?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay. We love to have you. But you're also a wealth of information, so we'll take advantage of as much time as we can get. What I'm thinking though are for those people that are like, okay, I'm getting ready to press that publish button. Like, you know, a lot of times I hear questions of what should I be doing like 4 weeks before, 3 weeks before? Do I do pre-sales? Do I not do pre-sales? What do I do leading up to my publishing and then after? You know, that kind of launch plan. Do you have any feedback or guidance that you can provide for those that are getting ready?
Yeah, the biggest thing is that you'll at least want your book for pre-sales for 1 month as a bare minimum. The longer the better, because during pre-sales, all those pre-sales that you accumulate for that month or longer all goes to launch day, and it helps you become an instant bestseller as well during launch day. So how Amazon algorithm works is that they look at all the sales at pre-sales and they collect it and count it as 1 day. After book launch, then they look at sales day by day by day. So it's harder to become a bestseller that way. The other thing that I always have mixed feelings about this part, and it's really case by case for the authors of doing your book for, and this would be after launch day because you can't do this beforehand, is putting your book for 99 cents, $1.99 or free. I have like mixed cases about that. Like I think it's great to put your book at least for 99 cents for 1 or 2 days. Same with $1.99 for 1 or 2 days, but not continuously. I used to promote like saying like, yes, you do your book for free, but things have changed with Amazon and with just the environment that we're in and everything. And I don't really like having books for free anymore for their ebooks at all. So I really promote against that right now. But I do say like, yes, maybe not the first week, but the week after is you can have your book for 99 cents or for free. But what you're going to want to do, let's say like, because everybody's different in how they publish their book, but let's say you're doing pre-sales for 1 month. I'd always, if you have the budget and you have the time, definitely do it longer. But let's say minimum 1 month. Things that you're going to want to do is to create those influencers to help you with your launch day. And that week of your launch day, you're going to so what you're going to do before that pre-sale month before is have your business plan out, your press kit finished, your pitch is done, having that foundation and that toolkit behind you so you can start running during that pre-sale phase. So before you do your pre-sale phase, you should have all of your ducks in a row. You should have your book description, you should have your social media accounts created, your graphics, your banners, everything. So that way you can generate success. So during that pre-sale stage, that's when you're going to start getting those 10 influencers, because with children's book, it doesn't take a week to read a book. So you can get results much quicker with influencers. So you want those 10 influencers. You also want to help tell them their time frame and everything to make sure they know what times and days you want to work with them during that launch day. So you want to do that. You want to start getting testimonial outreach. So getting testimonials that you can start updating and populating your Amazon page with. So you want to aim for at least 2, and that's like a minimum 2 in testimonials. Like I would aim for more personally, but it depends on what your time is, but try and aim for minimum 2 testimonials from high profile individuals in the media or influencers, somebody that has brand recognition and followership. You're also going to want to start gaining those beta readers. And I know, April, you've done like such a great job in getting like book reviews for your book. And that's what you want to do is like on launch day is that you want to have at least 10 reviews published about your book. So really aim for that. And that can come from family and friends. And sometimes you might have to write those reviews for those family and friends because sometimes they've never written a review or they don't know what to say. Sometimes you want to give them the inspiration of like what to write or an example that they can use. So you want to make sure you get prepared for people to write those reviews, because Amazon's not going to publish all of those reviews. It's based on their algorithm. The thing that we know of how reviews on Amazon get published, is that the book industry on Amazon's a bit different because the books are the only product on Amazon where you don't have to buy the product on Amazon in order to write a review, because they know that advanced review copies exist. They know that people share books. They know that libraries exist. They know all these things. So they do recognize that you don't have to purchase the book on Amazon to have a review published. What you do need that we know of is that the person they should have had an Amazon account for a while where they've purchased products, that it's not a vacant account with no products ever purchased, that they've probably written a review in the past, and that they're active on Amazon, so they regularly make purchases as well. So those things change, that's what we know. So there's no guarantee that all of your 10 friends will post a review, but you want as many reviews to come through as possible. So that's what I do as a minimum. If you were to do 1 month, if you're doing longer, there'd be like, you'd want to get more reviews. You'd want a bigger influencers. You'd want influencers to start promoting your book before the launch date. So there's other items there. But if you have only 1 month of pre-sales, that's what I would suggest.
So, Lyda, that's so pre-sales with Amazon, but like if you're doing Kickstarter, would you change any of that? Like obviously, those, like you wouldn't, like pre-sales on Kickstarter don't really work that way, right? Like, do you just create a list of as many people as you think might be interested and then reach out to them like on launch day or right before launch day, as opposed to pre-sales? Is that kind of Kickstarter equivalent?
Yeah, so I've only done Kickstarters for products, not books. Just like from years ago. So like we reached over $70,000 the last time I did a Kickstarter campaign. And I've known people, I know Vesty, for example, I think they reached, like, I won't say the number, but it was like an astronomical number. So what they told me how they do successful Kickstarters is that it is a kickstart, or I don't know what they said exactly, but it was a funny term. But really it's like, if you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. And what they do is that they do make donations to other Kickstarter campaigns, because then when their Kickstarter campaign launches, those people that they made donations to get alerted. So that's a huge, huge thing. And then email databases is huge. You want to build up a huge email database of people that are interested in your book to help kickstart your book and help fund it. So those are the two big things that you want to do. And it's expensive to donate to all these projects on Kickstarter. So maybe even if it's $1, that makes a difference.
Okay, so even if you just donate a little bit, even if you don't necessarily buy the book, they will get alerted.
Yeah. And they can share it, everything. Yeah, so they do get alerted, and sometimes they do. You never know.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. I'm considering that. So I wanted
cool.
What I'm doing.
Awesome. So Adele, this is a pre-sale on your printed book. So in the ebook available during that time, or is the pre-sale on the ebook? So the pre-sale would be for the print book, and the ebook could be for both. Definitely launch the print book and ebook at the same time as well. Right now, a good time to launch your book, based on everything that's going on, is probably September or November. So like just the fall. I don't know, like that would be a recommendation because we're hitting July soon. So if you have time, then you can go for August, but I wouldn't do it until things are changing so fast right now. So really, I think like the best time right now is like the fall and August. Any other questions though?
This is a really quick question. So I am working on booking a couple podcasts, just getting started. And so would I want them to broadcast those podcasts like right before my launch, or like right after, or if I'm doing Kickstarter during my campaign? What timing do you think is best for that?
Yeah. So if you're not doing a Kickstarter, you'd want it to do the day of your launch when your book's already available, or a day or two before the launch date. Okay. So you want it like because people are like, if they haven't heard of you and this is their first time hearing of you, they're more likely to purchase the book if it's like they're going to get it like that. Because we're used to getting the information right away. The other one is if you're doing a Kickstarter campaign, then you'd want to have the podcast while the Kickstarter campaign is going.
Okay, good deal. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. And then Serena says, what are your thoughts on KU? I actually don't use KU unless it's a romance novel at first. So if you're a children's book author, I don't really use KU. I try and stay away with it. If I do use it, it's for a very short period of time.
Okay, thank you.
Because I want to get into bookstores. That's why.
Yeah.
And I want to help the authors get more money. So that's why.
So on KU, you can't do bookstores. I knew that, like, you with the ebook, it was exclusive to Amazon, but that's also for, okay, thank you. God, I know that.
No problem. Yeah, but I know it's getting late at my time here. So I really hope I helped everybody out. And feel free to email me if you have any questions as well. Just put my email here. I will get back to you guys more now that my sunburn is gone.
Lyda, I know that in the past you have run workshops and things like that that were really helpful for authors in being able to build, the publicity and their press kit and all of that. Are you planning?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to do one again. Yeah. So I'm going to do it for August 1st, the first week of August, and the price will be $500 and it'll be over 2.5 months. So it's like a very, usually these types of courses are over $1,000, but I find like the price point with authors, it's more affordable. And my goal is to help you guys see that there's not just a return on investment, but like I'll help you walk through the whole strategy. So the first week that we're going to create together is that foundation of like, what are your goals? Who's your target audience? And then the second week, we create your business plan together. And then we also create a book description, your bio. So I really help you guys capitalize on writing a book description bio that reflects and inserts your target reader. So everything's very strategic and very aligned, because we don't want to just like kind of throw spaghetti at a wall to see what sticks. We want to like already do the research. That way we can get results faster. So we really want to get that foundational work finished right away. And then for this workshop, compared to last one, is like I'm really going to help you guys focus on getting results for 50 to 60% of the workshop versus just creating the material. So the first half is creating those materials. The second half is working together to get those results, to get those influencers, to send out those pitches and everything too. So I'll send a link to April to share with you guys, but we would be meeting once a week for over an hour, and then everybody would get one-on-one time with me for around 40 minutes. But you'd also get access to my contact list. Most of my contact list, unfortunately, I can't give you every journalist, but I'd give you over 500 librarians. I have over 1,000 contacts that you would be getting. And then you would get also just the recorded videos. You'd get pitch outlines. You would get, there's so much information that's jam-packed that you would be getting. And I really focus on as much hands-on as possible. So even if you feel that you're being left behind or struggling, like I always will have another meeting with you. So sometimes we'll have 1 to 2 meetings, but it's really based to make sure that everybody grows at that same level.
That's wonderful. And I did go through the workshop. It is fabulous. And it sounds like,
thank you,
Lyda, you've been taking feedback and it's getting better and better as you continue. So,
yeah, I'm actually only going to offer it once a year, I think. So it's going to be in August until October, just because it's a lot of work for sure. That's the biggest thing. So just going to keep it once a year. But it's so exciting. Like the authors, it's really cool to see afterwards that they're still sending me emails saying that they got a media hit or like they got more reviews and everything. I think everybody that took the course so far have over, they've all got like over, I think 40 reviews on Amazon, and like it's kind of like a huge game changer to see like their book descriptions and everything kind of like more simplified and reflecting that reader and just getting results faster that way, which is really cool. The biggest thing if you're taking this workshop is that you need to have the time to do it though. So if you want to take this workshop and see the success, is that you at least need 5 hours a week as a minimum to follow through with the work. If you don't, then it's really hard to see the success come through, because you need to put in the work in order to get results.
Yeah, I agree. And as a participant, it can be overwhelming if you let yourself fall behind. So you really need to be able to keep up, and otherwise you miss out on an aspect of going through this with Lyda and with the others. And I was guilty of letting myself slide behind, but I still got a huge value from the workshop.
Thank you. And that's why the workshop's going to be longer this time too, to give people more space and opportunities to finish that work and to really get those results. Because I feel like the second half of it is really getting helping you guys and like walking you through of getting those results together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you added more time,
Yeah.
but you kept the price the same.
I did, because I feel like a lot of people want to do
Yeah.
it as well, and I didn't want to price people out of it. That's the reason why. So
Kudos to you,
that's kind of
because
like my gift to the community.
that's just that much that more value for the authors
Mhm.
who are participating.
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
And I have so much fun doing it too. So it's also I have fun and everything. But yeah, so I will send the link to April and just let me know if you guys have any questions.
All right. Thank you, Lyda. We
Thank you,
appreciate you.
Lyda.
Thank you. Bye everybody for now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So, guys, I will hang out here for another half an hour, 35 minutes or so. How does everybody feel about what you learned today from Lyda? She's just such a huge amount of value and information in this area.
I feel like I just want to learn more. It's just so exciting and fun.
Yeah. Anyone else have, are you feeling a little overwhelmed by the amount of information in one place?
Yeah, she definitely has given us so much more to look at and to view from so many other perspectives that I wasn't even thinking. And she talks really fast, which I don't mind, but I'm going to have to go back, rewatch this, and pause it to write all my little notes and sub notes and then subhead notes under those, just so I make sure that I'm getting every little aspect. But she's a wealth of information. Wow. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's why she's a frequent participant in these meetings, because, you know, every once in a while she'll just ping me or I'll ping her and say, I think my students need your wisdom, so drop into the class. And yeah, and she also, by the way, has a Facebook group that she does frequent lives in her Facebook group, and it's free to join. So I will send that link out or post it after this meeting as well. And I would definitely recommend you go join her Facebook group, because you'll continue to learn a lot, and she will answer questions that are posed in there as well.
That's great.
Kathleen says, I'm a little overwhelmed, self-professed, horrible salesperson. So am I. So the one thing that I would say is, when you think about it as aligning your values and being authentically who you are and sharing your passion, that feels very different to me than being a salesperson. So if you are passionate about what you're doing and you're being your true authentic self, you're not trying to, I'm not putting on a clown hat doing magic tricks, trying to pretend that I'm somebody different than I really am. And the people that are supposed to be aligned with me, who are aligned with my values and love what I do, are going to work with me and want, more from me, more collaboration, more opportunities, because we have that connection. So if you think about it that way, it's not hard for anybody to find your people and just connect and let the rest flow from there. Tara, how do you feel about the whole pitching and things that you need to do on your side?
Well, I feel good about what I'm doing. I've been doing this for a very, very, very long time. And there is a salesman component to it, though. You can't discount that. I mean, there is the passion part of it, and there is the being authentic and what's your value and what's your differential, and all of that is important. But at the end of the day, you really are a salesperson, and think of yourself as a going door-to-door salesperson. And you're knocking on each one of these doors, and you're seeing who's home, and you're seeing who's interested. And yes, of course, be authentic. Yes, of course, connect with them in some way. Like Lyda was saying, she's absolutely right. Go to these sites, see what they're about, see what they're writing about, see what's important to them, see what they're talking about, see what their engagement is. What are their followers talking about within the articles, on a Facebook thread? You really have to kind of peel the onion and get into there. And then when you see something in that thread, a lot of the marketing that I do for my products, comes from the negative comments that women are leaving on my competitors' products. It's a little bit of a sneaky way of doing it, but I get so much information from there. I don't know if a lot of the ladies in this group know what I do, but I'm an intimate apparel designer by trade, and that's my, you know, alternate ego, alternate, you know, personality, whatever you want to call it. You know, and when I'm designing a new bra or a new piece of shapewear or whatever it is, I'm going into the Facebook groups of my competitors and I'm looking at the products they're launching, and wouldn't you know it, every single thing they're trying to promote has about 1,000 negative comments. And I'm going, okay, so my product solves those products. So I'm going to take the words that these women are using within those comments, and I'm going to craft my message to them using their own language, right? So there's so much that you can gather, so much information you can gather from digging into those groups. And then you take that information of what you've just learned within their own group or within an article that they just wrote, and then reach out to them saying specific details about what they just said. You know, I saw this article that you wrote about X, Y, and Z. We are 100% on the same page. And here's why. I just wrote this book about X, Y, and Z. I'd love to share more information with you. And that's how you make that connection. And you know,
that's like the perfect pitch right there.
Yeah, you really just have to knock on the door and see who's home. And let me just say this too. This is not just, you know, self-published authors who are doing this type of thing. Big, huge companies are taking this approach. Sometimes they're not even going full steam ahead into the market with a product. They're just knocking on the door and seeing if anybody's home before they put millions and millions and millions of dollars into a project. You know, so it's the same thing, just on a little bit of a smaller scale. Mm-hmm. You know, so I'm, you know, Lyda said, you know, we're not throwing spaghetti on a wall. I'm a big fan of spaghetti. I'm going to toss it out in every single way possible. I'm going to take my books into diversity groups and hair groups and mom groups and this group and that group. Yes, I'm going to find a common ground, but I'm just going to throw the net out.
Right.
All day long, every single day, nothing but research, 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 finding your people. Mm-hmm. It is literally the never-ending, persistent, nonstop pain in the assery of reaching out to every single person you can find. That's it.
I love it. I love it. And
that's it.
It's so true that you really need to just be willing to go above and beyond and continue. And your people can be in more than one place. And I found that with my Little Labradoodle series. There's a group of people that are fanatical about Labradoodles, and they're, you know, the dog people that are, they'll buy anything Labradoodle. So there's those fans of Labradoodles and the dogs. I mean, then there's the dog people, but there's the anti-bullying and the value, the message that aligns with values of, you know, kindness and love and making a difference in the world. Like those, that's kind of where I was coming from. But then I find, as I was, you know, moving forward in my journey, I created coloring books, and all of a sudden this whole world of coloring opened up because somebody in the group found my books and they were sharing them, and all of a sudden I have, like, now it's adult coloring books, and there's a whole fanaticism over there as well. And so learning what that community wants, what they like, they buy a lot of things, a lot of like a specific types of coloring books. So there's like many different ways you can go as you move forward. You're going to discover more and more of these niches that your book can move in and out of.
No question. I agree with that 100%.
Yep. And I would have never known or predicted when I first started that my book was going to be used for service dogs that are going to meet kids, and they're therapy dogs. So I got, I had 2 or 3 different different service teams contact me, and they're labradoodle dogs. So they wanted to read a labradoodle book to the kids. So, there's, that whole opportunity. I didn't really pin that together that it could be that helpful, and it was. And so I've got them calling me saying, hey, I want to order in bulk. How much can I get? Because now they want to go and gift that book to the child that had the therapy visit. So those kinds of things are blossoming, and I would have never, ever in a million years expected that.
Yeah. What I was thinking of earlier when I think it was Kathy that was talking about the monster truck sign language book?
Yes.
So, I should have said it at the time, but there was a lot of conversation going on. But, a perfect example could be, she can reach out to, she can research monster truck drivers or anyone within the monster truck community that has maybe a hearing or a speech impairment. And maybe she can collaborate with one of those monster truck drivers to put, ready, set, go, or whatever it is that they start off a monster truck race, and have those signs on a truck somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, collaborate in ways that maybe are a little bit outside of the box. It might not always just look like, here's this book I wrote, here's what it's all about. Do you want to collaborate in some way? You can come up with some way outside of the box thing that somebody might be like, oh my gosh, that's kind of cool. I mean, wouldn't it be cool to see the actual signs in the hand, the hand gesture of the signs along the side of a monster truck? That would be amazing. And maybe there's a monster truck race on a day where there's some type of, speech or language awareness day, and there could be a collaboration of that type of thing. So there's so many different ways to kind of come up with unique and different and interesting ideas of collaboration, other than, will you interview me for your website or podcast or, social media posts or whatever it is. There's other ways that you can think. Just really go outside of the box sometimes with some of this stuff.
Yeah, and I love that. And I'm not as inventive. My mind doesn't go in all those possibilities, but folks like you are. And I love having this gathering of wonderful people that get together, that share these kinds of things, because you might have an idea, somebody else might have an idea. And when we support each other that way, we don't have to be everything or have all skills if we're in a part of a community that does have varying skills and capabilities and are willing to be there and just brainstorm with each other. Having that sounding board and this community has been, I think, one of the biggest blessings that I've had as part of this. And I've seen these connections really help. Go ahead, Laura.
Just to add on to what Tara said, actually, some of my friends who are deaf, we actually go to truck rallies and we go to really loud concerts on purpose. And I wear my earplugs, but we sit right in the front, right beside the vibrations, because they're able to feel the sound waves coming off of it and be part of what other people are feeling around them. So something like that is actually a very emotional connection to them, because they feel like they're, one second, sweetie, because they are feeling part of that, whatever community it is. Either it's a music community, a monster truck community. When they see an artist painting, you don't have to listen to it, you can visually see it. So they do feel connected in a different level than hearing people may see it. So that's definitely a positive thing. And I'm really, really happy about this. I love everything about sign language. And I'm so excited to see this book and support you in any way possible, because it means more than I can even explain to me. It's truly amazing that you're going forward with this, and I applaud you.
Sounds like you've got yourself a partner there if you need it, Kathy. All right. Does anybody have anything that they need help with for the? I've got about 20 more minutes here.
I had a small question about something actually. So my book is it's based on this raccoon character as the main character, and I was actually looking up some charities or some sanctuaries for raccoons to converse with it. I just want to know if that's going off the beaten path a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if there's raccoon fanatics out there. I suppose that there are.
I found a couple. Yeah, I found some sanctuaries for raccoons because a lot of people find them in their attics and stuff and they don't know what to do with it, or they'll find injured ones. So I found it, but I don't know if it's going a little too out of the box considering I'm writing about discovering and child development. Basically child development and discovery of a child shown through an animal. But since an animal is my main character, would going to something like that be too off track?
No, I mean, I think you can prioritize, because right now you're in the research mode. That probably wouldn't be the first thing I would reach out to, but if you're going, you're going through this process and go, like Tara said, cast that net wide and see what comes of it.
Yeah, I'm just blurting down ideas on my amazing mind meister that you sent us. Anything that comes to my head. I'm putting down museums that have art facilities, the Art Gallery of Ontario I'm putting down, especially when COVID is gone, hopefully soon, everyone cross your fingers. But yeah, I'm just writing everything down. It's not organized yet, but just anything I can think of. But I want to make sure I don't go too off the path where I'm just like, okay, this makes no sense at all. Where have I turned left or right too much?
Yeah, I have a recommendation for you to reach out to Diane Alber.
Yeah.
She has sold so many books on, the I'm Not Just a Scribble. All her books are, at the beginning, have been about art. So if you were to get a testimonial from her, and by the way, it's Jay and Diane's group, so she's definitely going to reply to you. But you could ask her if she would be willing, tell her that you've got an alignment with, kids and art, and that, read through her book, I'm Not Just a Scribble, and
I have it.
Splatter, and so you could talk about what aligns you both and see if she'd be willing to read your book and give you a testimonial.
Okay, thank you.
That would be helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I was also going to say, if you want to shoot for J.K. Rowling's, maybe your J.K. Rowling's is Crayola.
I'm writing it on my list.
So, I was just thinking that when you were talking about things earlier.
Speaking of that, right now, that's kind of the stuff I'm working on now that my media kit's about ready. I'm working on my pitches. I'm working on my lists. And, I've been thinking about it so much, but do any of you guys have any suggestions? Like anything from doodle dogs, service dogs, positivity, perseverance? Is there anything that jumps out at anybody, any person or media or website that any of you have seen that you guys would recommend?
Well, and Sarah, this is April. I know that with regard to the things that you haven't talked about, I know a lot of people don't know all of your backstory, but you've got a number of illnesses that have, that makes your story that much more amazing about your positive attitude through everything. So those associations, those unique illnesses, are there places that would love to, that focus on helping people with those illnesses, that would love to highlight a positive message and a positive story?
Yeah, that's true. Maybe.
And I know you don't define yourself by those things.
Yeah.
But I think about all the people that have those same conditions that would be inspired by your story. I feel like it almost would be selfish not to share it with them.
I agree. Yeah. Like you said, I try not to let it define me, but I also realize that's a lot of the inspiration factor. And I feel like disabled children, I know that like Jay Maletsky, the book he started with was kind of writing a book about disabilities that can appeal to everybody. Mm-hmm. And I want that, but I also want people with disabilities, kiddos with disabilities, to feel seen at the same time, to be like, oh, she has a service dog. Oh, she goes to the hospital, whatever that may be. So that might be another spin I haven't like looked at yet.
So what about that? Kids with disabilities and those, like what Lyda was talking about, are parents that want to raise their children to see people as equal and to, see somebody who has disabilities and read stories about them and not feel like, oh, that's something totally different. So there are parents that think about, hey, I want to expose my child to various different situations, different events, different types of people. You having an illness with a service dog, I mean, what kid wouldn't want to read about a service dog and all the wonderful things? But you also have that kind of story and connection with the parent of, hey, this will broaden their experiences.
Yeah. I think that is definitely why I should look.
Go ahead, Tara.
Can I just jump in and just say one thing to Sarah? A friend of mine is a middle school kind of, I can't even think of the name of the genre. It's like mystical fantasy type of thing. And we were talking recently and she was giving me some advice. And one thing in particular she said to me was, there's an entire movement out there called Own Voices. And if you do a simple Google search, #Own Voices, what the publishing world is looking for right now, and the readers, and they're looking for writers who are writing stories representative of their own experience.
Okay, that's really cool.
I love that.
So the person actually said it to me because I'm of Hispanic descent and my book is about curly hair. And as you know, I'm writing the 4 different versions. And she said, you're so lucky right now because there's this movement happening right now about own voices. And they want, somebody who is in it, experiencing it, living it, to be writing about that thing. So do it. I know Lyda said that she doesn't like hashtags, but you #Own Voices and about 5 gazillion things will come up.
That's an awesome tip. Thank you. I will definitely check that out.
Yeah.
And Sarah, can I chime in real quick?
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe even the autism community, because even autism academies and autism camps, there's so much. My son has autism, and these children, when they see a service dog, and if they even read a book on service, like look it through the pictures, it's such a great component of speech and motivation. And and it helps that community out a lot when they're able to actually bring a service dog into their home. I know it's a lot of money, but those children love to see dogs come in. And a lot of them are, have allergy issues, and they want to turn to like the doodles, the hypoallergenic breeds. And so that might be a good arena to look into.
Yeah, I actually have sensory processing disorder, so like that's a direct avenue. So
yeah, definitely. And there's a big SPD community too that you could dive into as well.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you guys. Yeah, that's
awesome. Reach out to Nikki Philippone for the SPD. She did a Kickstarter for her book that was recently released, and it's about, I think it's called Rosalie the Seeker.
Oh yeah, Nicole. Yeah,
about sensory processing disorder, and she found some amazing contacts and really knows that community in and out.
Yeah, I will definitely ask her. That's a great idea, because I've communicated with her a little bit, but not specifically about our shared interests. I will definitely ask her about that. Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Like I said, whenever you're thinking about it so much, sometimes you get going on one track that you kind of forget to look at. There's just some that are right there, but you miss them. So
yep.
Thanks for brainstorming with me.
Yeah, good for you for bringing it out. And that's what, you know, if anybody else wants to throw something out and see if we've got some brainstorming to help you as well, we get another 10 minutes or so.
I was going to say to Sarah, what you can also do actually is a lot of kids, when they see a service dog and they have the red warning sign like don't pet, they actually a lot of them don't understand what it means. So even going to schools, once schools open in September, and collaborating with either their firefighters or police when they do go to the schools to educate kids, to go with them with your dog, to teach them not only about safety of the dog, but about disabilities and why people have them. And I know that newsletters actually go to parents when these things happen. So if they need to reach out to you, if they have any questions beforehand, that may help.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah, I would absolutely love to do that. Hopefully, before we know it, I hope the world gets back to normal by the time school starts. Yeah, I love that idea. And I think kids would really respond. Like, I would be super excited if a dog came to school. So, yeah, thank you guys so much.
You're welcome.
If Rachel's still here, I would love to know how her quilting is doing.
Where is Rachel?
Is she still here? Yes. Oh, I want to know how it's going.
That's how baby. That's how it's going. It's just
wow.
I'm sick of double loop stitch. I can't even tell you. But when I put it into the light box, I haven't even cut the loop. So like, I don't know if you guys can see, it's double loop stitch. So every single one is a loop. And I plan to cut every single loop so that it looks more like grass.
Lady, you're brave.
Well, I asked my test group to do one, and I asked, could just one person do a full size? And I got one woman who's doing it, and she keeps messaging saying, my fingers are chafing. You owe me. I'm like, I know I owe you. But yeah, one taker out of my test group. Nobody would do it except for the one woman. So yeah, and I'm planning on including every pattern in the book, but I know people will be like, I'm not doing that. She's crazy. So what I'm planning to do is maybe do one like half the size and then show people, well, you can do the whole one. I'll give you the option for the whole one, but here's a more reasonable project.
Right.
So yeah, because I think the kids, if people make them the Puppy Pete set, they're going to want the playmat. So, because it's rather a large part of the story. It's not just that there's grass as part of the background, it's that the carpet turns into grass. So,
yeah. you need to start tracking how many hours of effort you are spending on all the things that you're doing to illustrate this book.
I don't think I want to know.
It'll be a great trivia question for a giveaway or something. Whoever gets closest to the actual number of hours gets a prize or something.
Oh my goodness. I don't think it's good for my mental health to know the answer to that.
But it's good for others to know what you went through to birth this amazing book baby, you know?
Yeah. Well, I am starting to give my group updates on it. So today I just posted a picture of this and said, you know, I'm almost done the first one. So basically, thank God. And people, I think their interest will pick up when I'm onto the smaller pieces. Because, like, let's face it, this is a big and boring piece. I mean, it's going to add a lot to the picture at the end, but it's a big and boring piece. And when it comes to doing the cat and the sofa and the lamp and all that, I think I'll have more interest. So yeah, I do have a marketing question, April.
Oh, sure. Yes,
yeah.
what can I help you with?
So you on your sites, it says that you do a marketing package or something along those lines.
So it's
What?
marketing help. That's another part of like the coaching and things that are available. Basically, I'm here to customize your needs, although or customize my services to fit your needs. But I don't necessarily have. Maybe I will in the future. Somebody that can like post to social media, like do those things, like actually do the work for you. It's more about going through the process, walking through it together, brainstorming, putting those things together. The way that Lyda just talked about it, she did that 2.5 month workshop. But this would be one-on-one, and we would just work on those things together, put the plan together, make sure that, if you need help finding some of these resources, then while it's not, I'm not Lyda by any means, I don't have the experience and knowledge, but I absolutely am willing to partner with you and do the best I can to help you with your marketing.
Okay. I'm concerned about the time investment.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, I have issues. Getting time is like my biggest issue. So.
Yep.
Anyway, that was my question.
Yep.
Thank you.
I am actually considering putting an advertisement locally and out there, just start putting feelers out for interns, things like kids are out of college and off for the summer. So starting to try to get, people that are good with social media, maybe some that are good with editing, or some that are just want to be a virtual assistant for the summer. So just trying to get some more help so that I can serve the people that are all screaming for it. So I'll let you know as the team builds, if I continue to see demand that, people need the help, then I will try to do like a per hour. I'll try to negotiate some per hour fees for these types of resources that we can reach out to.
Okay. So is there anybody who you can just pay to do it, basically, like the whole kit and caboodle? Like market my stuff.
Yeah, so I had this conversation with another author yesterday too. She was saying she doesn't have the time. She just wants somebody to like do the social media stuff, do the marketing, reach out to people, do the pitches and things like that. So I don't currently offer that, and I don't have the bandwidth right now to do it myself, but those are the skill sets I'm looking for people that are growing their marketing career. They're working towards a degree and wanting to continue to practice what they're learning over the summer. So I think those folks that really have a joy and a love, and that's what they want their career to be, might be a good option. So I'm trying to build that skill set and the bandwidth to be able to help others. And when I do have it, I will offer that.
Okay.
So
thank you very much.
It's good. It's helpful for me to know, what you guys need, and to see what I can do to align the resources to help make it happen.
I have a question if you have any time left.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I just got my shipment of books, and so I'm looking to officially launch next month.
Okay.
I'm just wondering about any tips that people have for launching during COVID, and I actually live in Arizona, so it's 111. So it's not very feasible to even do like a socially distance at a park type thing. It's just too hot.
Right. Can you, what's your book about?
My book is about body acceptance and love of what's inside, because that's what truly matters.
Mm-hmm. So tell me, what are you thinking? Like, what are the blurbs? What are the things that, as you've been pulling together ideas and pitches, what are you focusing on for your values?
I'm focusing on a couple values. One being to include other people who look different than you.
Okay.
And then two being to not let your insecurities stop you from, being friends or doing activities with friends. And then to focus, my book's called Core Matters More, and it's a little talking apple who teaches that what's inside is what matters.
Oh, that's genius. I like that.
So her little mantra is, a shape's just a shape, doesn't change what's inside. So we accept bodies, how they look, but we also focus on who people are to connect with them and to love ourselves in that same way.
Wow. How have you done with finding the people, the influencers? Because to me, there's so many opportunities with a message like that to connect on a very emotional level with other influencers.
I've done a lot of research as far as finding people on Instagram mostly who share about books and about kindness, but I haven't. I got an influencer to do a testimonial that's now printed on the back of my book, and she's got I could never afford to pay her for her time on social media, but she just said, send me 8 copies of your book, so I can give them to my nieces and I'll do a testimonial. So I'm hoping that when she sees the book, and since she did a testimonial, that she might be willing to share. But I definitely need to dive in more for lower influencers who have less followers, that I could collaborate with for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, based on what Lyda was saying, and if you don't have those, I think, what did she say, 5 or 10 influencers? I think she said shoot for 10 or more. If you're not at that level yet, then maybe you want to consider putting your book as a pre-release over the next 4 to 6 weeks. Continue to bang and work through with these influencers to get the press, get people buying, get those collaborations going. And by the time things calm down, if you've got 6 weeks or 8 weeks, you're a lot more likely to have launch day be a real huge success than trying to launch right now in the midst of something and not being ready. You don't have all of those alignments and partnerships and things to help get the word out without having to pay.
Okay. So pre-release on Amazon, is that what you mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Allison, what was the influencers platform that?
I'm sorry, my son came in. Go ahead.
What was the influencers platform that had agreed to write the testimonial with the and you sent her 8 books? I'm sorry, I missed that part.
Oh, she just I had reached out to her because she's written a Better Body Love program and she promotes that heavily. And so I had reached out to her months ago and asked if she would consider writing a testimonial, and that I would pay her for that, because I can't pay her for her time to share my book on her feed. She's got so many.
It was a body positivity platform?
Yeah.
So there's these 2 girls that, in my world, I work with lots of women in plus size world. There's 2 girls who run this, I'm sorry, I don't know the entire premise of your book. The whole is about body positivity?
It is. Uh-huh.
It is. So there's these 2 girls, Chastity Garner and Cece Olisa, and they are founders of it's a convention for plus, it's called the Curvy Con. And they are all about body positivity. And there is an entire network of women and groups that are associated with these 2 girls, and they are amazing, and they are wonderful, and they are just beautiful people. And I know their focus is women, but all of these women that come to these events, which I have attended many times for my business, they all have children. And just might be an avenue to kind of head down.
Awesome. Will you tell me their names again?
It's Chastity Garner.
Okay.
And her social media platform is Garner Style. And her partner is CCO Lisa, and their company that they created is called the Curvy Con.
Curvy Con.
And it's huge. It has grown tenfold every single year, and they have a collection of vendors and businesses that come every single year to New York City to this big giant 2, 3, 4-day convention, and the entire thing is about body positivity for women. But I can't imagine that there wouldn't be some touching on children's issues within that community, and it just might be worth a shot because these ladies are just phenomenal.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
This was a great night, guys. I have another meeting that's bumping up against this one. So it is my pleasure to have you all hanging out with me all to the end. I will post this recording because I know we all want to slow Lyda down and take notes. So I'll make that available as soon as I get off here. Even before I do any editing on it, I'll just post it out there for everyone. And then once I edit it, I'll update the link and put the edited version. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, April. Thank you, everybody. See you guys Thursday.